So the question was, how has the risk changed with the withdrawal of the French and U.S. troops from the Sahel region? I say the Sahel has become less safe. One, because of the expanded numbers across a number of factions or violent extremist organizations, whether we're talking about JNM or ISIS Sahel or ISIS West Africa. Boko Haram is still there. So it is very much has increased across the region. And now it's at the cusp of affecting coastal West Africa. So violent extremist organizations, they thrive in areas of instability such as governments, of weak governance that lay themselves vulnerable for ungoverned populations regions across, and in the coast of West Africa, a number of regions across their northern borders that are susceptible for the influence of violent extremist organizations. So the bottom line answer is it is less safe. But our way forward is to engage with these countries, identify what their needs are, in which they will lead a enduring solution. In most cases, it will be a whole of government approach on their end as well. And so that's where our 3D construct within AFRICOM comes into play, because we have those shared objectives, shared challenges, but also the throughput of how we address an enduring solution through a whole of government approach. And we have a lot of activities and investments that have been effective in the past, and I'm sure they will be effective in the future based on the lead of our African partners.
All right, thank you very much. So next question comes from Chris Ewakor of BBC World Service in Nigeria. The question is, what country in West Africa is the U.S. military considering for a base after pulling out of Niger, Benin, Ghana, or after pulling out of Niger, Benin, Ghana, or Ivory Coast?
Okay, a great question. So we remain very focused on the growing terror threat in West Africa writ large. And with this growing terror threat, knowing that this is these are shared threats with our African partners, the way we see it as far as protection of the U.S. homeland, and then our African partners' protection of their respective countries against this common threat. We recognize that, but we also know when we build partnership and capacity with our African partners, we ensure that we listen, we learn, and we understand what they need as far as an enduring solution to terrorism. It's not all kinetics. It's not all just security structure. It's building our institutions across their whole of governments that would be a panacea to countering the threats of violent extremist organizations. So yes, I've made travels across West Africa, across coastal West Africa, those that are up against the growing threat, whether it's on their borders or already across their borders. And I listen to what they need to be successful, and wholeheartedly and pretty consistent. They understand and they tell me it's a whole of government approach. So building out those institutions. This is married up with what we have passed in the past years called the Global Fragility Act. From that has been a strategy of preventing conflict, promoting stability. We work that across our country teams in engagement with our African partners to ensure that we can implement that across the board to be effective and to serve as the enduring solution to terrorism. This takes engagements with civil society and communities and being able to provide services and building institutions even at the local governance level, and also closing the civil military divide, because in partnership is very effective against countering terrorism.